good to see you today.
Hi.
Wasn't sure if you'd be here or not. How's your husband doing?
Thank you for asking. He's doing great.
Is he?
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Good. So good to see you.
Thank you. I will tell you that among the people that got transplanted around the same time as him,
Mhm.
he's the oldest one, and he has not had any rejection or any other problems. So the younger ones are having trouble. The old guy is doing good. I think that gives heart to all of us.
Wow. So glad to hear that. We've been thinking
you.
about him, and yeah, he's still in our thoughts and prayers. And
Thanks.
as you are, because I know you're going through a lot too. A lot of times you go through as much, if not more, right? Being the, not that you're actually the caretaker, but you are. You're the one right there with everything.
Well, I'm about as nurturing as the average lawyer, so it's good that he's doing well. He's not counting on me to have a good bedside manner,
He's well taken care of, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Well, so good to see you. Thank you for being here today. We appreciate it.
I'm glad to be here. I'm sorry I've missed the last few times.
No, it's all good. All good. We all
Certainly
take care of it.
understandable.
Yeah.
How's the baby? Kathy, how's the baby?
Chris's baby?
Yeah.
Well, she just turned 2. And she's wonderful. She's speaking very objectively as the grandmother. She's a genius and really the most attractive little girl I've ever seen. And she gets up every day and goes to daycare and loves it. She rules the place, I think. Totally a candidate for law school someday.
She's definitely in the right family for that.
Yeah, she is.
Well, I was just saying, I got computer problems today, which I'm on video now, but my other computer's locked up and I've had some issues, but that's just it's the way it is. It's still good to see everybody. I don't know who else going to be here. I know Lloyd was doing some remodeling still. I think he's been working on that for about 19 months now.
Oh, gosh.
Something like that. But Jim, I'm not sure if he's going to be here, but we can go ahead and get started in just a minute. So good to see Kathy here. Can't wait to hear what you got to say. I know there's a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah.
And actually, we could probably go ahead and start. Let's see. My name's John Lee with St. Louis Real Estate Investors Association, and today is the 27th of January, 2023, and we're very fortunate to have Miss Katharyn Davis with some updates today. And Kathy, good to see you. Is there anything you'd like to tell us?
Yes, there is. We have 2 things that are on our minds right now. The first is, some of you may have seen an article in the Post-Dispatch or seen an item on the news. The Post-Dispatch was actually a column by Tony Messenger, which he usually averages about 10% accurate information in his columns, and the rest is stuff. And he wrote a column about a tenant who had been evicted and sued the landlord for refusing to give her stuff. Now, the deal is, when you get a judgment against someone and you go through a sheriff eviction, you have some protection under the law for the disposal of the personal property. And let's also be clear here that the tenant who has not paid, gets a lot of due process steps. They get served with the initial lawsuit. They have a chance to appear in court. They have a chance to have the case tried to the judge if they want to. And then when we get the judgment, which we generally do if they owe rent, they have a certain number of days, usually 10 days, until that becomes final. Then we file for the sheriff. There's the processing of that paperwork. The sheriff puts a sticker on their unit telling them that they're coming back in 5 days to put them out. So they have ample opportunity to get their things out. In this case, the tenant claimed that the landlord stole some of her stuff, and that after the sheriff execution, she came with a truck and wanted to get her things, and the landlord wouldn't let her. This is ordinarily okay to do. There is a small loophole in the law, and that is that the statute that protects the landlord says, except for willful and malicious conduct. We don't think that anything that you're doing in conjunction with the sheriff should be considered willful and malicious. So we don't know what, and we don't have the transcript. This is just a trial judgment. So I've looked at it on CaseNet, looked at the jury instructions and the various pleadings. So we're just kind of guessing about what went on in trial. It's possible the landlord's attorney, who apparently was insurance defense, did not realize all the protections that were due to the landlord or did not know the right things to ask. We've reached out to that attorney and asked if they appeal the case to let us know, because we'd like to file an amicus brief with the appellate court. That's a statement of facts and law by other people who are affected. And in this case, we would be taking the landlord's point of view. The problem going forward is I kind of hope they will appeal it, because I think one way or another, I would like this to be clarified for advising our clients. Right now, as those of you know who do evictions in the city and the county, both of those sheriffs take the position that they give you a date and time for the eviction, you show up, change the locks, they get all the people out, and then you dispose of the personal property as you see fit. If they're going to say, but the tenant can turn around and sue you later for their stuff, I don't think that protects you enough. And the sheriffs are either going to have to go back to the old ways. Some of you may remember that we used to do an eviction. The sheriff would set a time and they'd come out, and you had to have movers there, maintenance guys. There were some moving companies who specialized in doing this. Everything was moved to the curb. The general rule of thumb was that you let it sit for 24 hours, and then whatever wasn't claimed, you hauled away. Like I said, I'm not sure that I can give accurate advice to my clients right now about whether they're protected. We are telling people to continue to go through the process with the sheriff and to follow what the sheriff's directions are. We think that we could win a lawsuit like this. We're not sure why this was lost, but we don't want anyone to be sued. And they want a judgment of $160,000 against this landlord. I think covered by insurance, but I'm not 100% sure on that either, because I think the attorney was an insurance defense attorney, because that's what their firm does. So continue to follow the instructions of the sheriff. We get the question from time to time, the tenant wants to go back in and get their things out. And I think you have to consider that on a case-by-case basis. We are always concerned that the tenant will go back in and, like the Hotel California, they'll never leave. Or that they'll go back in ostensibly to get personal belongings and they'll damage the place. Or slip and fall and sue you for that, or, whatever. So, we want you to be cautious. We'd kind of like to see the people get their medications and personal documents and that kind of thing. But like we said, they've had a lot of opportunities and chances to get those things out. We think that the majority of the sheriff executions were really evicting after the people are gone. The people know, they get the sheriff sticker, they know what their drop dead date is, and they get out what they want. And those remaining junk and stuff they leave behind is something that nobody wants, and they're just abandoning it and leaving you the burden of cleaning it out. But we don't really know. We're happy to talk to anybody who's facing that situation and try to talk it through on a case-by-case basis. But like I said, we're hoping this case gets appealed so that we can get more guidance from the appellate court about what we should be doing going forward. Okay, the second thing is people who have property in the city of St. Louis. They have gone even more insane than usual. Some very, very progressive people have won leadership positions in the city. There's a contraction in the Board of Aldermen, with a woman who looks like she's going to be the new Board of Aldermen president permanently, is very, very left wing. And I mean, I'm a pretty liberal, but these people make me nuts. And they have, I'm going to hold this up to see if you can see it. This is the White House blueprint for a renter's Bill of Rights. And the city, Jackson County has done this. Jackson County has enacted a renter's bill of rights, and there's various provisions in it. And one of the things that might affect you is they're saying that the tenants have a right to counsel. Well, everybody has the right to have an attorney represent them in court. The problem is they usually can't pay for it. So the city of St. Louis apparently is going to try to pass a bill that will include funding with our tax dollars of lawyers for tenants who are facing eviction. Oddly enough, here at Davis and Travaglini, we're not that opposed to that. We know most of the attorneys who do tenant work. We get along with almost all of them. And so, sometimes it's much better for us to be meeting with an attorney than a crazy tenant. And sometimes the things that the tenant thinks they have that are their big defense, an attorney that they hire or that represents them could explain to them when they won't believe us that no, that's not going to fly as a defense. Not having an occupancy does not mean you get to live for free indefinitely, you know, that kind of thing. So I'm opposed a little bit on the grounds of, I think that my tax dollars, and I live in the city, I think that my tax dollars could be better spent to help people who are suffering from homelessness and, you know, that kind of thing. I think there's, you know, a big thing to me is we should have more resources for the poor and mentally ill, the people who really can't care for themselves consistently and end up living in my bus stop. So I would rather see them do that, but they want to throw some money at some lawyers. We know that some of these legal aid groups like Arch City and EHOC will probably apply to be paid to do this, to get money from them to represent tenants. We might end up having more trials. We're hoping the court system doesn't bog down too badly. Our judge this year in the city is moving things very expeditiously. And the new judge who's across the hall in the other division seems to be doing really well as well. So we're happy about that. But if you live in the city or if you know any aldermen, you might want to question them about what this bill is going to mean for you. What rights are the tenants going to get? I mean, I think they have the right to pay their rent, but they don't seem to want to exercise that right very often. And I'm also concerned that this is going to be another blow to the smaller landlords, the mom and pops and the small investors who are going to find just another bureaucratic set of hoops that they have to jump through, where the big out-of-town investors can come in and buy up, you know, 100 single families or all the 4 families in a certain neighborhood. And I think that takes away from the flavor of our city. And I think that takes away from all of you who would like to have this investment opportunity and have this kind of small business thing. I don't think for a minute that providing low-income housing is an easy job at all. I'm in awe of all of you who do it, and just dealing with the few tenants that I have to deal with in court and their problems. I mean, I just can't imagine. I can't believe that they want to do this to you. Someone asked in the chat what bill this is. Well, we got a copy of the White House blueprint for a renter's bill of rights, and we've heard that the city of St. Louis is going to be proposing a renter's bill of rights. We've heard that it's very similar to the renter's bill of rights that was passed in Kansas City within the last year or two, that among other things provides taxpayer funding for tenants to have lawyers. We're not 100% sure what else they're proposing. I'm sure it's not going to be good for us. There are probably some things that they're proposing. My guess is that they're not going to be able to do. They can't, they're not over the court system, if you know what I'm saying. They're the executive and the legislative branch. The court system is the judicial branch. And, you know, we have separation. They can't tell the judges what to do. So, pardon me, I'm sure there's some things that they're going to try to pass that won't fly. And you know us, we'll be right down there in court fighting these things. we're always very excited here at Davis and Travaglini to get to go to court and argue. So I'm going to try to find out more about the content of this proposed bill. This might be something that will not materialize as an actual filed bill until after the upcoming primary and general election in the city, which is March and April. But as soon as I know more, I'll try to email it to John so that he can post it on your website, and I'll be back with you on a Friday to talk some more about it. Okay. Does anybody have questions or anything that you would like to pose? You're also quiet today.
That's a lot of good information, Kathy. Where would we get a copy of that White House blueprint for the Renters Bill of Rights Act?
I will scan it in and email it to you in a minute.
Oh, thank you. Okay, great.
Okay.
I'll be happy to hear it. Thank you. Wow.
Kathy, I'm going to email you, and I guess I should send it to you too, John, the National Association of Residential Property Management, they've already got a stance on it. And I got an email yesterday on it, and what they are going to support in it. Doesn't say what's in there that they don't support, but it says what they're going to be working on. So, and things that are on there just are not that bad. So I'll send that to you, see what they're doing.
Thank you, Dave.
Yeah, I'm on a new Supreme Court committee. Every time I turn around, they put me on another Supreme Court committee, but I'm on a new one that is monitoring associate circuit court practice and, that kind of thing. And they try to be balanced when they appoint these committees. And so there's a young woman there from Kansas City who's an attorney in Kansas City and works for the Institute for Freedom and Justice, I think it is. And that group pushed through this bill in Kansas City, and they represent tenants where the tenants don't have to pay. Taxpayer dollars fund this representation and fund this group. And she was very, first of all, I don't think she understood what the point of the committee was. And secondly, I felt she was very unrealistic about the position of the landlord versus the position of the tenant. And I think one of the things that we'll see if they push the landlords too much is we'll see that landlords get out of the market and we have even less housing. This happened in the city, about 20 years ago, they had a cycle where they were harassing the landlords all the time. And how many vacant buildings do we have now? How many properties do people just walk away from? We have a housing shortage. They should be working on facilitating ways for landlords and tenants to get along, not punishing the landlords, which is what some of these people seem to want to do. Okay, wait, let me look at the chat. What does it says? Will lease purchase option work around this renter's right? I don't think so, because if you have a lease, you have a landlord tenant relationship. So it will probably cover those relationships. We don't object to you doing them. And like I said, and like Dave said, this might not be as bad as everybody thinks. There are definitely probably things that I'm going to be unhappy with, but we'll see what the bill is when they file it, and we'll let you know. And in the meantime, I will scan this White House blueprint for a rentals bill of rights that we think they are using as a template, and I will send it to John. The problem is Heather isn't here today, and my copy is two-sided, and I'm not sure how to scan in two-sided. I'll figure it out. I try to learn as little technology as possible, but that comes back to bite me in the butt when Heather's not here and can't do it for me.
Well, take your time, Kathy. I
Okay.
appreciate that very much.
Okay.
As far as your contact information to get a hold of you, what is the best phone number or way for someone to get a hold of you that we can share here for us?
Yeah. Do you want me to type that into the chat?
That'd be ideal. Yeah, that'd be great, because I know people might have some other things to deal with. And we do have a lot of landlords that, as you know, that are members of our group here, and things come up. And hopefully we don't have to call you too much, but I'll tell you what, you are a source of gold when we need you. I'll tell you that.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I feel like it's kind of one challenge after another. We just kind of survived the pandemic, I think, and now they're going to come at us with this stuff. So I just put my email in the chat, and that's the best way to get me because we're in court so much that, but I'll keep my email on even if my phone's turned off and everything, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. I might say, oh, I want to call you and talk about that. I might ask you to email me documents to look at depending on your question, but we'll get back to you as soon as you can. And, you know, if it's a county eviction, call the office and ask for Christine. If it's city or the other counties, call the office and ask for Chris. And I'm putting our office line in here too. And of course, because at the end of the year, we had 2 or 3 weeks where there was no court. January is a busy month for us. So we've been running around a lot to courthouses, but hopefully that'll ease up a little bit. Okay, guys,
Thank you.
I will hope to come back on in 2 weeks, if that's okay.
Yes,
And-
whenever it works for you.
Okay.
Main thing, take care of your husband. We're still here with you on that. We appreciate you very much, Kathy.
Kathy,
Thank
do
you. It's
you have
always
one
good
more
to see
minute?
you guys.
Kathy, you
And-
have one more minute?
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
So SAFER program was supposed to end this month, and I just went on to the website to make sure it's still happening. And they have posted that they're out of funds, and they're still accepting applications, putting them on a wait list. And even the people that have already applied may not have enough funds to get to everybody. So this whole deal about if you accept it and not being able to evict during the process kind of messes things up.
Well, we are not stopped from evicting someone, even if they've applied for SAFER. Now, we can evict them. It's not, we don't care. I mean, it's up to you guys.
Okay,
If
because
you want to wait, if you want to wait and see if they get funded, we're okay with that. If you want us to proceed forward, we're okay with that too.
okay, that's part of the agreement when you accept their application is that you will not evict.
A lot, if you get the money, right?
Got reading. I thought it was during the process. It's been an issue for us.
If you could send me a sample agreement of that. I know
Okay.
a lot of my clients are basically saying, we are not going to facilitate the SAFER process, you have to apply on your own. And they've said to me, oh, there's too many restrictions, it's too much paperwork. Maybe that's part of it.
Yeah, that is.
But I get people that come into court that say, oh, I've applied for SAFER. When did you apply? Yesterday. Dude, you owe $5,000. Why did you wait until yesterday to apply?
Yeah, the judge down here, she pretty much said if you've applied for it, you got to wait till it either gets approved or denied. So she's pushed them back a couple times.
Is that down in Cape?
Yeah.
I don't think I know that judge.
All right, I'll send this to you.
Okay,
Thanks, Kathy.
sure. Okay, anything else, anybody? All right, have a great weekend. Get
Thank you
outside
so
if you
much.
can. It's all sunny.
Thank you.
Bye.
Yeah. Wow, a lot of stuff going on there. Wow. So if anybody would like a copy of that too, I know I had a couple of notes here. Send me a note and I'll be happy to get that out as soon as I can. Easiest way to get a hold of me would be my electronic business card I have. Just go to linktojohn.com and down on the bottom tab, there'll be contact me. Just say in there that you would like a copy of the White House blueprint for renters that she's talking about. Whenever I have that, excuse me, I'll get that out to you. We'll probably have that on the website on the member section as soon as that is available. So that's something we will do. We will also have the rendition of this replay. I'll have it up on YouTube by midnight tonight. It will be on the member section. Normally it's by Monday, depending on the webmaster on the website, STLREIA.com. So you can look for that. But in the meantime, if you want a copy of it before you see it, just send me that, because I know for myself, I will watch the replay because I know Amber, one of our board members, sent us a link to that article that she was referencing where they sued the landlord, and that's kind of a big deal. I encourage you to read that article. It's about probably a 5-minute read, but it's kind of unusual because I think it talks about Bauman, it's a management company. They've been around for a long time. I personally had some dealings with them, I don't know, maybe 15, 20 years ago, and they were always fine. But it could be any of us, being a landlord. You could be in that same boat. So if you don't know what they're doing right now, ignorance is no excuse when it comes to that kind of stuff. So there's nothing, well, there's things worse, but there's not a lot worse than a bad renter when you get the legal system against you too. So that's just something to keep in mind. So, okay, anybody have anything, any comments on that before we get started with our regular session today? Questions, comments? Like I said, I'll send that out to you. If you just want to send me a request, I'm happy to do that. Otherwise, anybody have anything for sale today that they'd like to offer? We have always have a good group here, and this is a good place to bring your deals, look for deals, ask questions. I see we got a lot of smiling faces out there today. Good to see you. I'm personally having some issues with one of my computers, so I'm lucky to be on here visually. So I had some problems earlier. But anybody have anything they want to sell that they're offering? Feel free to unmute yourself. I think we ought to probably have Laura come on with her disclaimer before we get started. I almost forgot that. So Laura, are you there? There you go.
Good morning and welcome everyone. First, I'd like to do a bit of housekeeping. Feel free to unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. Please be mindful of everyone else by muting yourself while others are speaking. You're welcome to put any contact information that you want to share into the chat. We meet here to share deals, look for deals and solutions that we have and need with our real estate. We are not your financial advisors, attorney, or accountants. We do not endorse or recommend any specific solutions or contractors here. You're advised to do your own due diligence to your own satisfaction before you invest. First Friday of every month is Ask the Attorney with Ms. Katharyn Davis. Our meetings are typically recorded, so only share what you want others to know.
Thank you. Okay, back to me. There we are. Okay, is it now? Does anybody have anything they'd like to sell? Anybody looking to buy something?
So I'm going to be Anthony Wall here. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, thank you, Anthony.
Okay, cool. I had to switch to my phone audio. In the market here starting in February, probably a little after the first, but looking for some distressed properties or a distressed property, single family. Would prefer Jefferson County area, potentially South County as well. So yeah, open to that. I'll put my contact info in the chat, and also general contractors in those areas.
Okay, is there any amount of properties as far as work that needs to be done, Anthony? Were you looking for a full gut rehab? Are you looking for something just a real light, or any certain price range? Jefferson County and South County, you said. So any more details?
Right. Not necessarily. I mean, open to cosmetic to full guts. Still building the team out there though. So yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you. And yeah, if you don't mind mentioning your contact information audibly, so you can hear for those that watch the replay. And then if you don't mind putting it in the chat, that's always very helpful, because we don't share the chat anymore. And I use the example of I wouldn't give your business card out without your permission. Same thing on watching the replay, but anything you would like to give out is very helpful, because we do have typically have people watch the replay. So that'd be great.
Oh, I appreciate that. That's a good call. So my phone number is 314-944-2231. You can call or text. I actually prefer text, but either's fine. I'll answer as well. And then email is Wall, WALL, investment group, LLC @gmail.com.
Okay, the phone number, can you say that again just a little bit slower?
Yes, I sure can.
Yeah.
It is 314.
Okay, maybe not
It
that
is
slow.
3.
I'm pretty slow, but
Went
not
from
that
one
slow.
extreme to the yeah. 314 944 31.
That was 2231. Uh-oh. I think we got a connection issue here. I don't know what's going on
yeah,
with the
that's right.
internet today.
2231.
2231. Okay, thank you. Yeah, and if you don't mind typing it in there, that'd be helpful too. I appreciate it. So,
Will do.
yep. If technology was perfect, it wouldn't be, you know. About how it works. Okay, thank you. So Anthony's looking for things in Jefferson County, maybe South County, anything from a light rehab to a full gut rehab, and you can text or call him. And there we are. Thank you. Okay. Anybody else? What Mary has something here. Okay, Mary, can you unmute yourself and tell us about that, Mary? Is that possible? Looks like she has something available. I don't see. Second floor garden condo in South County. Let's see, needs full renovation. It's already cleaned out, ready for makeover. And Mary Bergman, and her number 314-714-5193. Okay, do you have a price that you're looking for that, Mary, or it's on the phone, speaker not working? Okay, well, anything you could put in the chat would be helpful. We could share that, but thank you. Yeah, if anybody's looking for something like that, please sure to get in touch with Mary. Looks like the best way is with her phone number there. All right, and there's Anthony's information. Thank you. Okay, anybody else have anything they'd like to share with us today?
Hey, everybody. I'm Jessica. I actually have, I'm a note investor, and I actually have some properties, none in St. Louis, but around the country under contract. I've got some performing notes and some non-performing notes that are definitely going to be under foreclosure. Some of them are already in the foreclosure process, and I'll be taking the properties back. So I'm looking for funding partners for these deals. So if anybody's interested in hearing more about that kind of thing, just let me know. My email is jburcher, B as in boy, URCHER @inmotionfunding.com. Or you can go to talkwithjessica.com and schedule a call with me if that's something you guys are interested in. Thank you.
Thank you, Jessica. Yeah, I don't see Jim Choik on here today. He's big into notes and has a lot of contacts there. If you'd like to put your information in the chat and you don't mind me sharing it with him, I'd be happy to do that. And I'll also have him be aware so he can watch the replay. But that's yeah, notes are great. That's something I really like. Keeps your fingernails clean. There's a lot of good things about it. It's more of a dealing with people, which some of us like, and some people say they don't like to deal with people, but at the end of the day, there's never a real estate problem. It's always a people problem. So that's what I've learned over the years. All the problems have a first name and a last name. So it's just a matter of solving those. But yeah, if you don't mind sharing that, that's very, very, very good. And that's something I know we had a guy last year come out and talk to our group about notes, but that's something I think that everybody ought to at least be informed on and be aware of, even if they don't do it, because that's something we're all with every day is financing. And what part of the country are these in, Jessica? You said they're all over the country. Is there any certain area? Are they just?
Yeah, I have a couple in Texas, a couple in Florida, Ohio. So generally the Midwestern states. I think I also just got a bid accepted for an Alabama property. I'm working constantly to try and find Missouri properties since I'm a Missouri local person, but I'm just not seeing as many of those. But I am trying. So even if you are interested but only are thinking you want to look at something in Missouri, go ahead and let me know because I'm constantly trying to find properties like notes for properties in Missouri since I live here and am local.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, and then there's, let's see, Jay Bircher. Okay, Jay Bircher at inmotionfunding.com, or you can go to talkwithjessica.com. Thank you very much, Jessica. Good opportunities for somebody that's interested in notes. Okay, anybody else have anything they'd like to share with us? Anybody looking to buy or sell anything? Anybody got a question about anything they're working on? We many times have contractors right here. We have people with previous experience. There's a lot of decades of experience here. Some of the good things out there and some of the things that you want to avoid. This is a good place to get other people's experience on what they've been through and what they're up against. And a lot of times I know, I try to learn myself as much as I can from other people's mistakes, because they say, how's it go? Smart man, a wise man or woman learns from their mistakes, and a genius learns from the mistakes of others. So a lot of times it's better to hear some of the mistakes from others so you don't have to quite repeat them. And this is a good place to do that.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. Scott Winkleman here. I'm looking to acquire this year, looking to really grow the portfolio in 2023. So similar to Anthony, looking for properties distressed or not distressed. I'm okay with that too. My buy box, everybody always asks about a buy box, but cash flowing real estate is a big part of my buy box. So not necessarily confined to any geographical lines, but greater St. Louis, St. Charles County, really anywhere. So if there are wholesalers in here that don't have me on their list, I'd love to be on your list if you send stuff out. My email is upwardprops@gmail.com. I'll put that in the chat. Upwardprops@gmail.com. My number is 314-807-8004. Also, if there's any wholesalers that are struggling moving some of your deals or getting stuff under contract, if you have any homeowners that are not able to take a low cash offer because of whatever reason, please send me, contact me about that lead. There may be something that we can do to help those type of people out. What else? I do have, I'm direct to seller on some interesting property in Rolla. I'm not sure if this is something that I'll take on or not, but I just thought I'd throw this out. And I know, Dave, you're kind of in that neck of the woods of Missouri, but it's there's two parcels. They make up, I guess it's about 6.5 acres, kind of split in half. One of the parcels has a 3-bed, 2-bath house, nice little house, and it's got a pond on it. So I think it'd be, it's right, maybe 10 minutes out of downtown Rolla. And so that would be good. It could be a wholesale deal or even a flip. And then they also own an adjacent property. It's another, that makes up the other 3.5 acres. and it's just got a variety of little buildings on it. So it's just kind of an interesting thing. I've never done anything with you know, out of town with acreage, you know, some land. I don't really know that it would be desirable land for someone to buy and sit on it for appreciation, but it's I don't know, it's kind of interesting. It's got like a 1-bed cottage on it and a couple of trailers. So if anybody has any ideas on that, you know, feel free to email me or call me, or speak it aloud now. So that's all I've got for today. Appreciate it.
Scott, do you know what they're asking for those pieces of land?
They don't really have a number. They've kind of thrown out a number, but I'm not even going to throw it out just because they just kind of pulled it out of their head. You know, they're not real informed on it, so I'm trying to do some comping with them for them. And of course, their number is way higher than what's reasonable. But I think they'd be looking for a cash offer, and you know, I just kind of have to speak the reality to them. And they don't really want to go on market either. So they're kind of looking for the best of both worlds. So we'll see what happens.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I see Charles is asking for I guess I can't really give out any info. I don't feel comfortable giving out any info specifically, just because I don't have it under contract. It's more of just a brainstorm idea if anybody has ideas. But Charles, I'll keep you in mind if I've got if I get it.
Thank you, Scott. And if you don't mind putting your contact information in the chat too, so we can write it down, that'd be great.
Hey, John.
Yes, Dave.
I sent you that document from NARPM, and in that document, there is a link, and it's called Resident-Centered Housing Challenge. And that takes you to a White House page. And in there, it says Blueprint for Renters Bill of Rights, and you can get the document that Kathy was showing.
Thank you, Dave. I appreciate that very much. Yeah,
So one of the things, because I just glanced through it, one of the things that's troubling in it is that they're calling for sealing all evictions.
sealing them, that meaning we could not get prior information. That
Right.
would not be necessarily a great way to vet your potential renters.
Right.
Ugh, okay.
So I guess if St. Louis is using this for their blueprint, that's going to be something that's going to be in there.
Yeah, that's something to definitely be paying attention to as we go forward, because like Kathy was kind of saying, a lot of us smaller business owners may look at, lightening our load or getting out of the business. And maybe that's, I don't know, maybe that's the overall plan. I don't know. There's a lot going on right now with that. So thank you very much, Dave. I'll be sure to share that. All right. Anybody else have anything they'd like to share with us today? Boy, this has been a very productive day. A lot of good information out here. There's Scott's information. Thank you, Scott. Anybody else have anything they're working on, or would like any, just even a question on stuff? We're all here. There's like I said, there's a lot of experience here. A lot of people that are very helpful. It's a good place to come and get questions answered, or just see what other people are doing. Like I've said before, I consider this my real estate therapy, because sometimes when you're having things aren't going right, you need to come here and listen to some people where some things are going right. And sometimes when everything's going good for you, you need to come here because it's not going good for other people, and they need what you got. So either way, we kind of help each other, and it's a good place to meet and greet and just kind of stay, with everybody, see what's going on locally and nationally. I mean, there's always, you never know, and internationally too, I should say, because we've had people from India, we've had people from New Zealand and Australia tune in on our Friday meetings here. You just never know. I see people from California here, and I know we have people from the East Coast here too, from Florida. So it is good to see everybody. You just never know what you're going to run into. This is the place we bring deals, look for funding. I see we got Carrie up there if you guys need some money, and we got Charles that tunes in here because that's something we all need is funding. Creative deals, Scott kind of mentioned that a little bit earlier, and of course notes. Jessica's talking about notes. There's a lot of different things, with real estate investing. And by just seeing what other people are doing, because one of the things I always like to say is just pick out one thing and be the best at that, whatever that is for you, and just be unique in your own way. And that's really how we all make it in the long run. Because if you do what everybody else is doing, you're going to get the same results. I mean, a lot of times, especially when we're new, people want to go with wholesaling and things like that, but they do the same stuff over and over. But you come here and see what other people are doing too. You can pick up some little nuggets of information, some tidbits and some tips from somebody that's maybe done it for a while. It might just make all the difference for what you're doing to make you a little different. So anyway.
I will say something. Hi.
Mhm.
I just wanted everybody to be on the lookout for February 1st when the feds meet on January 30th, and the feds usually divulge what they're doing the day after. So that would be February 1st. And I also wanted to make mention, I invited a friend. His name's Bill DeBoard. He is on with us today, and he owns Meridian Land Surveying. So if you guys need a land surveyor, get with Bill. Bill, I'll have you put your information so they could contact you the way you want to be contacted in the chat, if you would. So, but yeah, if you guys need any surveying or anything done, please reach out to Bill. Well, he's on here as William DeBoard. So if you guys are looking for him, he's up there.
Thank you, Carrie. And yeah, Bill, if you'd like to, or William, if you'd like to unmute yourself and say something, you can, or if you would if you would please put your contact information in the chat, that'd be very helpful.
Sure. I'm on right now. Can you see me, hear me, or whatever?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, if you guys need any surveying services, Meridian, be glad to give you a quote, help you out. Also, if you have questions on this call that I can answer or can get answered concerning surveying issues, just let me know. I'll planning to be on every week.
Thank you, Bill. And what is the best way to get a hold of you?
Best way is you can either, my cell phone would be great, 636-346-8444. Either call or text, either one's fine. I'm also at b.deboard@meridianlandsurveying.com. I know it's ridiculously long. And I bought the company, so I inherited it. I would have never done that to people.
Okay, and if you don't mind sharing that in the chat, so we make sure we get it spelled correctly, that'd be great.
Okie doke. Will do.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Bill. Very good. Thank you, Carrie. Appreciate him bringing him.
Thank you.
I know you're connected with some great people, and everything we do is based around relationships with good people, and we just always appreciate it when we bring people to share like Bill here. So thank you.
John, I have a question. So for those of you who don't know who I am, which probably is everyone on the call, I don't know. So my name is Laurel Gomer. I am a new investor. So I have never done any transaction in any particular capacity. I have shown a strong interest in wholesaling. That's where I believe I'd like to begin. My question is to Bill DeBoard, twofold, and pardon me, again, I'm new. Under what circumstances would an investor definitely want a land survey? And is there a typical price range that it would cost to have such a survey? Or I suppose it's very dependent on the specific situation, but is there any kind of generalization anyone can speak to?
Sure. I guess first off, if, you know, personally, if you want to identify any potential defects of the property, you know, things that are like built over easements or property line issues, building line issues, setbacks, things like that. If you have any concerns, really the only way to identify property defects is through a boundary and improvement survey. Be glad to do those anytime. The general price for platted, you know, half acre or less, normal amount of improvements type surveys are around $500 in St. Louis County. They're a little less expensive, around $400 in St. Charles, because the area is newer, and finding monuments that we use for the control monuments are much easier to find typically, and we spend less time. Time is money, and hence the cost of the service is a little more efficient. Anything else I can help you with, or?
No, thank you very much. That's just exactly what I was asking. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
I got a quick question for you, Bill. This is a little off, maybe off the subject, but out in Madison County, Missouri, down where we're building a place, one of the neighbors was talking about his neighbor who keeps moving the fence pole over every couple of years, thinking he's gaining his property. And he was wondering if he needed to get a survey or if there was a time limit. And I don't know anything about that. Is that something that somebody could actually do, or would that clear that up? Or what are your thoughts on that?
Well, it sounds like he's talking about an adverse possession claim. And I would say typically the best thing to do is contact a lawyer at that point. You know, well, first off, I would say survey would be recommended just to find out, is his fence on his property, or is he moving it within his own property lines, or is he moving it into your property lines? If he's moving it into your property lines, you know, that sounds like he's, you know, I don't want to ascribe motives to the guy, but they don't sound good. I would say, you know, once you identify that the fence is on your property, then I would probably ask him to move it back first, and let him know I have a survey. It shows that the fence is improperly located. You know, you need to move it back to your own property. And if he refuses to do that, then, you know, you really need to contact an attorney and get legal advice. As far as timeframes, I mean, I think the general adverse, you know what, I don't even want to say, because they keep changing. I would say I'll let an attorney, a real estate attorney, answer that.
Thank you. That's helpful. I'll pass it along. I was not trying to give him advice, but the conversation came up not too long ago. So,
Yeah, no, I would definitely recommend that if he's concerned about the property and thinks it might be over his property line, then I would definitely get a survey, mark it, show him, be able to show the neighbor that this is indeed is not his property, and he can't move his fence here illegally, and he needs to move it back.
okay, thank you.
John?
Yes.
Roger Wallach here. Is Kathy still on? If Kathy's on, I'd give her first dibs on this, but if she's not, I'm a real estate lawyer.
Yeah, go ahead, Roger. Yeah, Kathy's going.
All right. And Kathy is probably the best for bulk docket landlord tenant stuff. I mean, not that I don't do it, I do it, but she's great. And she and Christine are terrific. When it comes to, and his name is William or Bill. Bill is basically correct. There has always been a 10-year rule for adverse possession. there are ways to defeat that, though. In other words, someone like you're describing should get in touch with someone like me, or whether it's me or someone else, and talk about what to do to prevent what the actions of that person. I'm assuming, like Bill was assuming, that the person is moving the fence, progressively more and more onto the person's property who's asking you the question. That would seem to be the obvious reason for the question. And yeah, there's things they can do, but they should do something. If they do nothing, there is a danger. Yeah, I won't say it's automatic, but there's a danger that the man doing that will be able to create an adverse possession claim. Would you agree, Bill, from what you've...
Yeah, actually, the 10-year rule is something that I have heard. I don't know if that's hard and fast, but yes, if it's egregious and it's common knowledge that this person has had it for 10 years, has been maintaining it for 10 years. I mean, that's my understanding.
Yeah, it's like that. I mean, there's very specifics about it. It's based on court, but it's based on judicial precedent. So it's complicated to research. It's not something that's written out in one place.
Yeah, again, that's exactly why I'm saying contact an attorney. I'm not really qualified to give legal advice.
So, John, if you want to let them know, there's steps that can be taken to prevent that from becoming a problem.
Thank you, Roger. Could I have your contact information so I could pass that along, please?
Should I say it to you, or put it in the chat, or what's the best?
Could you do both?
You sure?
That would be ideal.
Yeah. Well, the best. So my office phone is 314-308-2900. The best way to reach me is just at my email, which is based on the firm's name. So it's Roger, my first name only, and then and Roger is no D, it's just ROGER.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's at wallachpc.com. So the domain of my firm is WALLACHPC that's like for professional corporation, because I couldn't get Wallach Law, it was already taken.
Perfect.
So wallachpc.com.
I think that's simpler anyway. Thank you.
Yeah, simpler anyway. So all right, so those are the two best ways to reach me.
Thank you, Roger. Appreciate that.
I had a question. Isn't that an encroachment issue, or am I missing that?
Well, right. Is that directed to me?
Yeah, sure.
Yes, it's an encroachment, but an encroachment. And so you can stop it by filing a lawsuit is a way to stop it. It's not the simplest way, meaning that could drag it out and make it a big deal. But yes, you could file a lawsuit for an encroachment, correct, to prevent it. That would work. I'm only trying to save people money to say there might be other, even less expensive ways than hiring someone like me to file a suit for encroachment, but that certainly would work. It is an encroachment, but if you don't do anything about an encroachment for long enough, it can turn into a situation where the person doing the encroaching actually has a claim on keeping the property. That's what adverse possession means, and it's kind of surprising to people who've never heard of this before, but the land could turn into their land if you leave it alone, if you don't do anything about it. And there's lots of conditions. When does it work and when does it not work? Right? I mean, work from the point of view of the person trying to take the land, or but still, that's the concern, right? So you want to, when there's an encroachment occurring, you don't want to ignore it. But yes, it's an encroachment, sure.
Yeah, I'll second that 100%. And yes, you do want to take care of it, as our friend here just said. So, you can't ignore it, because if you do ignore it, there's a better probability that they'll be successful in their adverse possession claim.
Well, and that answers the previous person's question about when do you need a survey. The answer is if you suspect there's an encroachment, but you're not sure. Now you need to spend the money on a survey, because if there's encroachment, you need to know it so that you can do something about it. So there's no way to, as a lawyer, I'm going to have to advise you, if we don't know already from surveys that it is that there's an encroachment, but we're pretty sure there is one, you got to get a survey as part of how to prevent the encroachment from turning into an adverse possession against you. Make sense?
Makes a lot of sense. Thank you, Roger. That's very helpful. Very helpful. Yeah, and if you don't mind typing your contact information in there for us, that'd be good too. Then I can.
I'm looking for how to do it. Right. Okay. I'm a little ahead of Kathy, but not by much. Let me see. No, I in fact, I was reading the chat a minute ago. So how do I? Oh, here it is. I know how to do it. Yeah, here we go.
Thank you. I'll make sure I tell him so he doesn't put that off too long because he thinks the guy's been moving his fence over for a while now.
Right.
So, yep. Don't mess with it because 10 acres could turn into maybe 9 acres in a couple of years.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, with no money coming back to you. Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. Thank you. Other thing I want to talk to you about at some point, now we'll get together another time, is the land trust that I know you had taught some things on that before, Roger.
Yeah.
We had talked about that not too long about having you come back and talk to the group about putting our properties in trust.
Yeah. That'd be fine.
So we'll do that. I'll reach out to you the next, I don't know, in the near future, if that's okay.
That'd be great. That'd be great.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay, a lot of good stuff today. Covered a lot of variety. Anybody else have anything they'd like to say? I know we're coming up on the hour here in a couple minutes. And I like to respect your time as much as possible. But we do meet every week, as you know, and this is the place to come. You know, you don't have to wait a full week. You can reach out to me. And like I said, go to my business card, linktojohn.com. You can send me a message anytime, but always keep in mind to show up here every Friday at 11. We've done this. We're going to be going into our 4th year real soon here. And actually, Miss Katharyn Davis is the one that got us going to begin with all this. And it's kind of just kind of snowballed. And we have a lot of good people that come here. We have a lot of people that tune in now and then. Don't show up only when you need something though, but I encourage you to show up just to learn, because I know I personally learn something every week. And the way we are with our technology now, when it works, we can tune in from anywhere in the world. I mean, and we do typically have people that show up like that. So if you just even have a question, and I like to tell people there's no such thing as a dumb question. It's just something you don't know yet. I personally use the word secrets a lot. There are no secrets. It's just something you just don't know yet. And there's a real good chance there's somebody here in this group that does know whatever it is that you want to know about. And we've kind of seen that today, but this is also a great place to just come and see what's for sale and to bring the things you want to sell. A lot of off-market deals are brought here. A lot of contractors are found here also. Or if you have a question about a contractor, or have anybody has a previous experience with a contractor they'd like to share, this is all where we do all that. So I do appreciate everybody being here today. Anybody else have anything they'd like to say before we call it a day?
Okay.
Yes.
I'll just mention too, I do exterior general contracting. So there's a few comments in the chat. So at this time, I'm not taking on interior stuff, but exterior general contracting, roofing, siding, gutters. So, shingled roofs, have done a little bit of flat, not a ton of it, but looking to learn that more and more. Vinyl siding, for example, things like that. Seamless gutters, gutter guards, if you have any needs for, to lessen the maintenance calls or the maintenance costs, if you want to do gutter guards on any property. So again, Scott Winkleman, my number is 314-807-8004. I have a different business email for that, but I'll just keep things simple. You can contact me however you want. I get them all. So thanks.
Thank you, Scott. Yeah, be sure to take down the information for anything that you want today. I'll have the replay done by midnight tonight if anybody wants to watch the replay, and I encourage you to, because like I say, I always get something back out of it every time that I might have missed the first time. It will be on the website, the STLREIA website, usually by Monday, because I don't know, the webmasters, I send it to them when I get it done, but sometimes they don't always get everything done except during business hours. So
John,
yes.
Roger, actually, now that I think about it, I have an interesting little need myself as an individual homeowner. Does anyone have experience of what Scott was just saying? Made me think maybe Scott himself, but if not Scott, maybe he knows someone. I have a minor squirrel situation is turning into a major squirrel situation. We're not successful. We have not been successful in excluding them from finding ways into the house to hide from the winter cold. And we're afraid they're going to start having nests of babies anytime soon. So anybody have any experience on or know a good person to figure out how to exclude squirrels from the property?
Are they coming in? Do you know where they're coming in, Roger?
Well, I have an idea, but I think there may be more than one path. So it's getting more complicated because of that.
What's worked good for me with pests, squirrels, and a couple other things. I found this out from a pest guy years ago after I spent a few $100s. But what worked real well is mothballs.
Yes.
And if you crush them up. I don't know. You don't now. You may not want them in your house to smell, because that's one of the issues. But if you can get them around the edge, they will evaporate, but you might have to, keep putting them there. But if you can find out where they're coming in, a lot of times that will discourage them enough to where you could block off the area and prevent further damage. I don't know. That's something that I learned a while back, and you may try that.
Okay. I'm not, it might be hard to get the mothballs to sort of stay in the right place, but yeah. I hear
just buy a bunch of them. They're cheap. They're about $7 at Walmart for a box. I just make sure I don't get them on my hands, because we do the same thing out in the woods in I call it our wooden tent. It's our shed that we sleep in basically, but I put a box of them in the doorway and then take it out and air it out before we go in there. But that keeps almost all the critters out.
Gotcha.
So you may try it. It may help.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. You just got to be careful, because if you leave them in there all the time, your house may smell like my grandmother's house back when she lived out in the woods, and we didn't really want that. But yeah, you may try it though, where the smell doesn't affect you.
Right. Okay.
Now, I'll add that probably the most common ways where I see, animals coming in would be in soffits and fascia. I mean, a great example would be if your gutter is overflowing back towards the fascia board and is starting to rot it out. A lot of times you're looking at the gutter, you can't see behind the gutter. You can't see necessarily that the fascia is hanging down. So usually you find that your gutter is starting to sag or pull away from the fascia board. They definitely want to get that checked out. So a lot of times if that fascia board's rotting, or even pulling away from the rafters, there's a perfect little spot for squirrels or anything to get in that way. And then they'll start to nest and just expand. Same thing where you have a roof line intersecting another roof line. So if you've got your regular pitch here and maybe you have a dormer right here, a lot of times the squirrels will come up under that and just push. I mean, because they have a real easy leverage right there to just push up and seek warmth or whatever, and so they'll just push that soffit in and damage it in a way that they can easily access it in the future.
They can chew through things.
Right. So there's steps that if that's the case, you can add a little bit more reinforcement in those areas so that they can't push, because the vinyl bends. So you add some more wood or like PVC reinforcement behind it, and then put the soffit back on so you don't see it. What else? Yeah, generally those types of areas is where it's most common. But yeah, you want to, do you hear him running around in the attic or anything like that? Or you just kind of,
I think that's where it started to expand. So that unfortunately, I think we are starting to hear that. We didn't used to have that, but I think we do now.
yeah, and you may contact the pet company to, set some cages or whatever to trap them and then do your repairs, because often they'll put those cages right at those points of entry or exit to try to get them.
Yeah, we trapped last summer, but others just can't replace the ones we trapped, so we trapped and drove a couple of them far away and released them. But we just got replacements. So not trapping alone is not the answer unless you hurry up and figure out how to close entrances. Right.
Right.
But yeah, I appreciate it. But yeah, those are all good ideas. Yeah.
And then Mary shared something in the chat here too. Roger says she used to work with wildlife, but bright lights in the attic, play a radio for human sounds, saturated cat litter. Okay, all good ideas there.
We don't have a cat at the moment, but I can put some lights in the attic. That's an idea, and turn on the radio, put a small battery operated radio up there. Yeah, maybe.
I had a similar experience with moving the squirrels away from my garden. And I actually I caught a raccoon. And when I had the city come out and look at it, I was telling him about moving the squirrels and they kept coming back. And he said, because I took them 5 miles away, but one of the things he told me is you have to cross water.
I did that.
Okay, because I didn't know that though. And they all replaced it like the same thing. And he said, well, that was the key that I was missing.
No, I don't think the same squirrels came back. The point is that there's a almost unlimited supply of squirrels. So somebody else, some other squirrels figured out that, okay, that family's moved out, so we can move in.
You just must have a good spot.
We do, apparently. We're at Squirrel Central here.
Well, let us know what you come up with, because that's always good to hear what everybody comes across though, Roger. So
yeah, we had hardware cloth put over an obvious entrance point. And then they chewed their way around it. So we're looking to expand the hardware cloth, but it gets to be a losing battle after a while.
Right. Well, Bruce said maybe they're running their own Airbnb there.
Yeah,
so maybe that's it.
Revenue. Then it might be worth.
All right. Well, anybody else have anything they would like to say? Like I said, it's good seeing everybody. Really good, some good takeaways today. A lot of good things. Go back and watch the replay if you have a chance. If you didn't have a chance to get anybody's contact information and you were here, you can feel free to reach out to me. I'd be happy to share it with you. I guess we'll watch your emails. Also watch your spam or your overflow, your bulk mail, because sometimes some of the stuff goes into there. I don't personally send out a lot of the stuff from the REIA group, but we do have, Diana does send it out. So sometimes it ends up there. If you want to know anything in the meantime, get in touch with me. Otherwise, we will see you all next week. So thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks. See ya.
Thanks. Yep.
Bye.
Bye now.